Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I wanted to have a little bit of a discussion about the latest episode of Aris to Zouroku, episode 8 as of the time of this recording, just a couple of days ago, which was a series I ended up dropping reviewing. Going back 3 weeks ago, we had a sort of a break where they aired a special episode. They had the seiyus of Sana and Zouroku respectively being interviewed and talking about, what had basically happened thus far in the story, where they were potentially going next, and so there was nothing really to talk about. And then when they finally came back with the episodes proper, 6 and 7 respectively, they were largely uninteresting to me. I was really left not in any way compelled to talk about them, because really they were just sort of downtime episodes wherein Sana was sort of gaining her bearings in her new home lifestyle, her new family lifestyle, having been officially adopted by Zouroku and Sanai and everything like that. And it was cute, it was funny, there were some great moments. I actually made posts over on my Facebook page because I just wasn't motivated to do a video. And very much with this latest episode, at the time I was feeling rather ill, under the weather, and I didn't feel like coming on and doing a video right away. So that's why this didn't come out the day of, But I ended up making another post over on my Facebook page and come to realize, I'm doing this more and more often, where I watch an episode of an anime that I might not be covering, and I'll go and I'll make a post over on Facebook. And not many of you guys who watch my anime content are actually friends with me on Facebook, have not followed me over there. So you're not going to see that. And unfortunately, YouTube is doing a thing now where some of the bigger channels, they have a community post format thing, and it's not site-wide yet. They've only been beta testing it. If they had actually made it site-wise, I could make such posts here where I could post an image and some text about what I thought about a given episode if I didn't feel like getting around to doing a video. I've taken to doing that on Facebook in lieu of YouTube having anything like that. And so a lot of people who might be interested in what I have to say might agree with me, might disagree with me. They're missing out, because if you're not following me on Facebook, where I'm posting a lot about these anime episodes that I'm watching, Grand Blue Fantasy, Recreators, Aris to Zouroku, and everything like that, you're not getting my thoughts on that stuff because you're not following me over there. You're not friends with me over there. So I made a post subsequent to the episode's airing, like the next day, and it went largely ignored. So because I don't have many anime review followers over there, and it propelled me to really want to come on and exercise my thoughts on it and talk about it in a video after all. So that's why we're here, because episode 8, it just got that much more intriguing to me with the introductions of the characters Hattori and Ayu, respectively. Hattori is another Dreams of Alice user who comes from a disparaging home. Her parents are constantly at odds, constantly fighting, and she can't stand it. She hates the idea of anything threatening to break her family apart. And much akin to how the mutations and the special abilities appear in X-Men, kind of around the age of puberty, usually as a result of some hardship. She goes to bed one night and is praying before going to bed, and this activates her Dreams of Alice ability. It's that crystalline, conductor that appears, rather than appearing before her or atop her head, floating above her head, it appears behind her, so she doesn't see it. She doesn't see that this thing has become manifest, and she doesn't understand anything that's happening is, revolving around this ability, these powers. But she wishes to God, before going to bed, let my family be happy again. Let my parents get along again. And she wakes up, and subsequently every day, whenever there's even a hint of unsettled, dynamics going on between her parents, she wishes actively, please let them get along. Please let them be happy. And her ability manifests immediately by changing their minds. If they're on the precipice of fighting, suddenly they are jovial and fun-loving, and they love each other again, and everything like that. She's influencing their minds, unbeknownst to herself. They had like a parent-teacher conference kind of thing, and the mother is there because she has to be. She's not very likable. According to one of the students, she's actually somewhat scary, but then her mood entirely changes because, unbeknownst to herself, Hattori has wished this, for her mother to be more genial, more approachable, more supportive. And it's obvious from some of the dialogue that the parents are aware that something is amiss. They're concerned about something, and the whole topic of, Hattori's schooling comes up, and they're rife for debate between themselves about that, and the husband isn't really picking up the slack, where the wife, the mother, is having to do all the work along those lines and figure out where to best place Hattori, and coinciding with their concerns, which is left mostly unstated, but you get the gist, that they're concerned about something a little bit supernormal about the scenario. And so you see this influence over and over and over again from Hattori, unbeknownst to herself, until two events coincide with her hanging out with Ayu, her friend, wherein, at one point they're at a crosswalk and some guy comes walking through, even though it says, no walking, and she just says under her breath something like, you should really back up and wait until you get the signal to walk across the street. And this guy freezes and he backs right up. And both she and Ayu are kind of exchanging looks like, that was weird, I guess he thought better of it, And then later they're in school and some kids are running through the hallway. And this really gets up the ire of Hattori once again. And she says under her breath, you really shouldn't run in the hallway. This activates the Dreams of Alice ability, and that crystalline conductor appears finally right in front of her. And all three of these kids who are running in the hallway subsequently are frozen. They are frozen in time or in place, whatever you want to say. And I like how they sort of accentuate this in the animation by making the entire color palette of the characters, go gray. So there's something off about them. That they are frozen in time for all intents and purposes. I don't know if this actually manifests, like if you were there, really there with Hattori and Ayu and witnessing this, if their whole body would actually turn gray, or if it's just to accentuate the fact that they've been frozen for the sake of the animation. So looking at it, visually they look different. They look like, they're off. There's something wrong about them. But immediately Ayu realizes this is magic. Holy hell, we have magic here. We can do whatever we want now. And the constant sort of worry on Hattori's part goes back to a fairy tale I believe her mother told her, where she's fearful of becoming an evil witch. It's a story about a kindly witch who met a young girl who offered to teach her a magic word that would allow her to use magic for whatever she wanted, as long as it wasn't selfish and as long as it wasn't spiteful or hateful, thus risking becoming an evil witch. She wanted this little girl to become a good witch. And so Hattori, now that she knows she has this ability, she's very much fearful of riding the rails of becoming an evil witch, associating it as being magic, the manipulation of magic, using it for selfish, prankful, games, as they will end up doing subsequently. They freeze their entire class and they're drawing on kids' faces and everything like that. And Ayu is no help. He's kind of doing it too. And it's interesting, during one point where they're hanging out outside the school, right near the courtyard where kids are like playing basketball or something along those lines, she summons it forth again, and they're testing the water. They're trying to see just how much they can actually do to manipulate people. And they freeze the kids in place, and they make them walk backwards, walk forwards, sideways, this, that, and the other thing. And you come to find Ayu can actually manipulate the kids as well, even though it is not his ability. I guess the closeness between these two has allowed for the fact that if he issues a command while the Dreams of Alice crystalline conductor thing is activated, I forget the name they gave for it, but the little thing that looks like a glowing crown, in this case it's yellow, when he issues commands, anyone who is under its spell will react as though it was Hattori herself. So that's interesting as well. And it comes to a head when one night, Hattori wakes up from a dream, and she sees that this crystalline conductor is activated. It's manifest. And, of course, if you recall back to Sana's own running in with situations and scenarios like that, while dreaming, it could activate and all hell could break loose. It's a very fearsome equation. This thing being activated when the user is unconscious or something like that. And she goes downstairs, and sure enough, she finds her parents frozen, probably for hours. The father's on the couch, looking dead, for all intents and purposes. The mother is slumped over the table, where she usually sits to conduct her work or eat her meal or whatever like that. And both of them look like they could be dead. I don't know. And she just immediately calls Ayu to come over because she's terrified that she's actually become that living evil witch that she so feared. And they both deign to run away. Ayu's not going to let her run away on her own, but the idea is she's trying to do whatever she can to best help her parents. She figures she's got to get away from them because she's harming them. And she doesn't want to be evil. But immediately thereafter, when they're suitably on the run, they enter a thoroughfare that looks like it could be Akihabara or something like that. I forget where they said it was, but there's a whole bunch of people, and the two twins, the former Dreams of Alice users who have reconnected with Sana and have a burgeoning friendship with her now. They run into these twins and everyone else, and she summons forth that ability to freeze the entire thoroughfare. But it reaches even further beyond that, because back in Sana's home with Zouroku and Sanai, and at his work or wherever she happens to be, she suddenly realizes something is off. Zouroku is not responding. He's like frozen. And so are the people working in the flower shop with him. And she has a panic attack. And she's, like running out through the crowd and seeing all these people who have effectively been frozen. And they start to respond to her because, of course, she is the only one unaffected by this freezing ability, by this stoppage ability that Hattori wields, because she also is a Dream of Alice user, presumably, but I think more to the root, she is maybe the originator of this ability, because the twins, who are also both Dreams of Alice users, they are frozen successfully by Hattori and Ayu. And just for the purposes of, when she encounters the twins, she's like, because they're loudly talking and not observing where they're walking, you're going to walk into somebody, and she's trying to school them, trying to teach them a lesson by freezing them in this busy thoroughfare, but she freezes everybody, And then they hear the crowd mulling and murmuring, which is abnormal because everyone's frozen, and it's everyone being turned into like these mindless zombies, focusing on Sana, who seems to be the only one, being able to move around and everything, and she's issuing commands and tell me what's happening, what's going on, what happened to everybody. And it's like all of these roving zombies, these frozen people, are trying to communicate with her, but they can't. So basically everything rounds up to coming to a head where Sana and Hattori and Ayu finally confront each other, and Sana, when she realizes this is their doing, she becomes very explosive, and she lashes out, and she summons forth her own Dreams of Alice ability. But the intriguing thing, that much more so at this point, is the fact that Hattori seems to be able to stop Sana's ability. They seem to be able to cancel each other out. Sana manifests this giant Santa with a hammer that's going to attack them, and they manage to make it disappear. And, both Sana and Hattori in that moment are getting very heated and trying to understand what's going on, and they're calling forth their little crystalline, conductor apparatus thing, and each time it summons, the other one cancels the other out. It keeps going back and forth like this. They both shatter time and time again. So there's nothing that can be done. Sana's ability has managed to break the freezing of everyone in this thoroughfare, and probably Zouroku back at the flower shop. And so while the crowd is effectively looking on in awe and shock and wondering what in the hell has been going on, why these powers, why these abilities have been sparkling left, right, and center, these lights have been appearing and disappearing and everything, they're all gaping and looking on. Hattori deigns at this moment to take off. And you sort of end the episode with her realizing that, at least to her own estimation, she has finally fulfilled that greatest of all her fears. She is indeed the evil witch. She's been manipulative. She's been manipulating people, controlling them, commanding them. And she's gotten so carried away with herself, even though she elected to leave home, to run away from home to save her parents from being so influenced. She's still, sort of doing it. She's still falling to the want of utilizing it and having fun with it, whether or not being prompted and propelled to by IU. But it just, the entirety of the affair, from her parents having been fighting as they were and potentially going to be breaking apart, divorcing or what have you, and all of the hardships that Hattori would have had to face for that, for her power to be born out of that, manifest out of that, and suddenly influence them for the better, but against their will. And her getting, when she realizes that she has this ability, that it is an ability, she has, on the one hand, the fear that she's going to become evil through the continued usage of it, but at the same time she's getting run away with the fun of it through IU and she messing about in their class, as I say, pulling pranks and everything like that. And when she realizes the horror that it is her ability that has been so affecting her parents to make them better against their wills, to leave home and then to still want to save them from having fallen under any more influence of it, but then to go out and start messing about with a crowded thoroughfare of people and freeze them all and tell them the way they should be conducting themselves, implanting those ideas in their minds. And for this to then coincide with Sana, who has just gotten used to her happier lifestyle, being the adopted granddaughter of Zouroku and sort of pseudo-adopted sister of Sanai and all this kind of stuff, how happy her life has suddenly become, and then she's robbed of it in those fleeting moments where Zouroku has come under the influence of Hattori's power and been frozen, and everyone has been frozen. And so Sana is left well and truly alone for those fleeting moments until, as I say, she finally catches up with Hattori and IU, and everything just explodes. It was absolutely captivating and intriguing compared to the last 2 episodes before that. And I don't know if this is going to propel me to want to pick it up again and start reviewing it every episode till the end of the series. We'll see. It depends on how intriguing episode 9 turns out to be in a few days' time. But I just had to come on and talk about how much more investing and compelling it was. Bringing it right back to the first 5-episode arc. This was a whole new arc, and they took a couple of episodes of downtime before getting around to it that were largely uninteresting. They're only mildly, passively interesting. But this brought the intrigue all the way back to form. From those first 5 episodes, I am thoroughly engaged with it again and wanted to share that with you guys. Because, again, as I say, I posted about this on Facebook, and none of you guys who watch this video, who might stumble across it, who might already be subscribed to me, are going to see it if you're not friended to me over on Facebook. It's a personal account. You can, request me as a friend, and, I don't only post about anime. I post about a bunch of geeky culture stuff. Sometimes personal stuff, for those who know me on a more personal level, but, I post funny stuff. I post commentary stuff, mini reviews and things of that, and reactions to things, and I just happened to post about this particular anime episode, and nobody saw it, and so I was kind of like, damn it, I wish I had felt up to doing the video earlier, but at least I'm doing it now. So yeah, wanted to share that with you guys. As I say, love to hear from you in the comments below if you've seen this particular episode of Alis to Zouroku as well, episode 8, if you were as compelled by it as I was, if you thought it was as fascinating as I did. If not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. Love it or hate it, anything goes, just as long as we have a great conversation. And so yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.